Hello, so apologies for the late start to the stream. As I mentioned on Discord, parents are streaming football, so I had to wait for the match to finish, and then it went into overtime and penalties. So, most importantly, the Lee Enfield Bayonet came today, the Pattern 1907 Bayonet, aka the Sword Bayonet, aka its fucking huge bayonet. So, as you can see, this is actually the length of a rifle bayonet. It's absolutely huge. So it's 17 inches of blade, so that makes it... let's get a sword out for comparison, shall we? We'll get out my shortest sword, my falchion, and you'll be pretty amazed just how big this bayonet is. So, if you want a comparison on the size of the blades, look at that. Obviously the falchion is longer than this bayonet, but not by a huge amount, by about 5 inches. Yeah, they're cool, aren't they, Alex Saint? They're absolutely huge. Because these were designed as cavalry bayonets as well as infantry, so they were designed to go through a horse's ribcage far enough to pierce the vital organs. All right, Mike. I won't catch a premiere, but I'll watch the video a bit later. As I said before, I had to unfortunately wait for my parents to finish streaming some football tonight. Yeah, to give you an idea on scale of it compared, and obviously I've got a sword in that hand, but let's compare the scale to other bayonet, shall we? Because that's where it's pretty impressive. So size-wise, let's get one of those Swiss bayonets out. There you go. There's that really nice Swiss bayonet. Just look at the difference. That's pretty insane, isn't it? I put them both facing the same way. Yeah, if people don't know what the membership is, if you join up as a member, you'll get colours next to your name the longer you keep as a member for. And the member streams are really good because there's nobody who really comes on and spams them, so we end up chatting about stuff. This was bought because of a member's stream, because somebody was asking for help finding a bayonet, and then I saw that these were for sale again at a reasonable price. And I caved in and bought one, and I do not regret it. Stug, it's a Lee Enfield 1907 pattern bayonet, so it fits on my Lee Enfield, but of course I can't show that on the stream now because of YouTube rules, but the old Lee Enfield bolt-action rifles, the pre-World War II designs, this was the standard bayonet that fitted to them, and this one's dated from World War I. I don't know if the camera will focus on that. Probably not. Yeah, annoyingly, I don't think the webcam's going to focus on the date there, but you might be able to see. Let me put that light on and then aim it towards the bayonet. Anyway, it says October 1914, this bayonet. D&B Militaria Sparrow, the same place I get all the deactivated guns from and that. They do bayonets, but yeah, they got some of these back in for a decent price, as in 125 quid, which is obviously expensive, but I don't mind paying that if it's a bayonet for this size. Obviously, if you're paying that for an AK-size bayonet, what's the point? But for an old, like, World War I era bayonet, and this is actually from World War I. Yeah, I've polished this one up already, AK-47, but yeah, if you've got an old damaged bayonet, see if you can restore it if possible. Because, yeah, I polished this up when it came, the wood and the blade, and I've oiled the blade, so it's not going to rust. The scabbard, though, is a post-World War I one, because if you see that, the writing on it, and again, it's probably not going to show up very well on the webcam, the writing on the scabbard says it's basically an Australian one from 1942. But the bayonet itself is from World War I. So, these were replaced by... If I get it out to show you, let me just put this bayonet as well before I stab myself. Yeah, it fell on the floor. That's where it went. Not from this bayonet, no, Peter. I cut my finger on a torch, strangely enough, on the screw-in thread of a what's it called? Maglite. Because I bought one of these, and I put the Maglite bulb inside it. Because they take the same bulbs as Maglites do, these. So at the moment I'm using this instead of my Maglite. But yeah, Maglite bayonets, not Maglite bayonets, Maglite bulbs, it turns out, fit inside these absolutely fine. Same voltage and everything else for the 2D models. And the cool thing of these is the filters for these are stored inside the base there. Ooh, they're falling out because I opened that upside down. So, for example, if you wanted the red filter, that's obviously on the camera there, but all you literally do is unscrew the front of this, pop the filter in this bit, screw that back on, and then you've got like your red light, and there's also the I think that's green, isn't it, that one? Or is it blue? That's a blue one. I don't know if this came with a green one actually, but yeah, these are just standard NATO L-shaped torches, or right-angle torches, whatever they call them. Depending on which company made them, which period, some are plastic, some are metal. I just went for the more modern plastic ones, but again, the nice thing with these is you can put modern LED bulbs in and they're really bright. Yeah, it sounds like a very strong source, Radiac Maniac. Yeah, so if I pop these back into the base, wherever I put the base, down there. Yeah, there's definitely no more filters in there, because that's just the base, that bit. Whether or not it's meant to come with a green one, I don't know, but you can buy the filters for these for like £2 anyway, so if it didn't come with it, it's no real. Yeah, the point of the red light Sparrow is basically it doesn't you know, damage your night vision as much, like your natural night vision. So if you're reading a map in the dark or something, if you use a red light, your eyes adjust back to the dark faster, and it's harder for people at a distance to see you've got a flashlight on. Because I've used a red bulb before when I've gone out with the night vision, if I want an actual torch I can see. And a lot of animals as well don't react to red light. So you can be going with a red light along the path and the animals carry on like you're not doing anything. Yeah, is it the same thing with the foxes, Flazzy, that they don't actually really react to it, so you can sort of sneak up on them easier? But yeah, it's definitely very good with the this bulb in it, because yeah, as you can see, it's one of those Cree LEDs from the sort of Maglite upgrade kits. It's just a 3-volt Cree LED. Whereas if you get the bulbs that come with this, they're pretty dim in comparison, because they're just like old torch bulbs. Right, that's far too a physicsy question for me, but from what I know, it's just different creatures and things see on different wavelengths. Yeah, that's true, Daniel, but it depends how bright you want it. I just probably want to use it with the regular bulb most of the time. Mostly just because of this big clip on it. So, you know, if I'm wearing any sort of, you know, equipment, you can just clip it on there and you can have a torch like that height, can't you? Haven't you seen the videos I've done of my S10 with the red lenses on it? Yeah, when I've gone out with night vision before looking at stuff, James, I've seen like rabbits don't react to the red light. I think if you shine a red torch light directly on them, they see it and run. But if you're just scanning it over a field, they certainly don't notice it. You know, most animals don't seem to notice it as much as the thing. But I suppose it's because a lot of animals seem basically grayscale, don't they? Or like a muted color palette where reds probably look the same as different colors. Richard said, made a level thumb ring for archery. I can see why people like leather rings over metal. I found no discomfort shooting a 110-pound horsebow compared to metal thumb rings, which are really painful. I'll say dig in less, do they? That's good. But yeah, if you didn't see it, Richard, when I started the stream, I know you responded on Twitter about it, but yeah, lovely bayonet. Yeah, I can verify the thing with deer because I was wearing my joke red camouflage trousers once, and a deer walked out the woods where I was walking and didn't even notice me, even though I had bright red and white trousers on. £125 Game Boy Blue plus postage, so in total about probably 130 something pounds. Oh, that's interesting, Daniel. Didn't know that. I want a Lee Enfield, but sadly I can't put it on the Lee Enfield for this stream, but I've got a video coming up with it attached to Lee Enfield, you know, poking it into stuff. Lost what, Alex Saint? A bayonet or camo or night vision or a torch or what? If you lost one of these, that's very disappointing. Yeah, they literally called these 1907 pattern sword bayonets. A torch and saying if you lost something like this, that'd be disgraceful. But yeah, I mean, you can buy these for like £20, £20 to £30 these, because there's still all the old NATO supply of them. Another cool thing with these, when I move out, James, I might hear it. There's no point in you doing it. But yeah, the other cool thing with these is if I just get the opener to open this bit up to show you, so it sticks quite. There we go. It's got a thing as well, so you can hang it from the ceiling on like a peg. Probably mead planes, in all honesty, about the amount I drink of it. Cut it on the thread of a maglite, and I'm not joking, a maglite screw thread is actually really sharp. Yep, they used to all be 303. The only one that's 308 Flazzy, apart from like 22 long rifle training ones, was the L42 rifle used in the Cold War by snipers, at least up until like the 1970s or whatever. So that looks like a Lee Enfield, but with a free floating barrel and generally with scopes on them. And it has a 7.62 mag on it, not the 303 mag. But yeah, so saying, yeah, these are pretty versatile because you can obviously hang them by a hook on a tent or something like that. Or you can, you know, clip it onto whatever and use it that way round. Also has a 2-stage thing that's pretty cool. So you can have it off, you can have it on, and then if you put it halfway, it goes on when you press the button. They could be, Daniel. Yeah, exactly, AK-47. Because that way, it's less likely you'll get shot unless somebody's trying to shoot you. And if you're injured in the woods or something, there's search and rescue, they can find you easier. Whereas if you're wearing camo, obviously it's going to be much harder for a rescue team to find you. Yeah, if you can get bayonets cheap for like £30, it's certainly not bad. It's just ones like this, unfortunately, end up being really expensive. But then again, they're pretty old bits of history. That's interesting, James. Yeah, there's only 2 filters of it tactical. I don't know if there was meant to be 3. I don't know if there was meant to be a green filter as well. But yeah, there's a blue and a red filter in the base. But you can buy the filter sets, can't you, really cheaply for these. So, you know, I'll see if I need to buy a different filter pack for them. I can get that very cheaply online and then just store them in here. But the interesting thing with these, you can update them with the Cree LEDs for mag lights really simply. So yeah, that's much brighter than the bulb it came with. Well, if you want the actual serial number type thing on it, it's that, if it focuses. If it doesn't focus, I'll just read it out. There you go. US MX99, is that 1U? And it's made by Fulton, apparently. It's a torch company. But that's not going to focus, is it? I don't think I got the signaling filter with mine, Joe. The thing is, though, Flazzy, if I started off, I probably just want a 22 long rifle as like a Ruger 1022 or something as my first fat gun. Right, Ninos? Right, just for anybody who's wondering about the membership, because I'll shill it because there's people on. If you click below and join membership, it'll cost you $2 a month, £2 a month, €2 a month, whatever, and you get access to exclusive streams and exclusive videos. It would have meant it was a non-military one, Sneaky. It might be a police rank designation. Yeah, it's a combination thing, Sparrow. You get more light and it lasts longer because it has less energy pool. All right, cool. Soviet Goose said this is a long way off yet because this is going to require me to have moved out first and then think about applying for a Section 2 probably before a Section 1. All right, thank you very much, Fluzzy. You can find members-only streams now, and there'll be a members-only video going up this month. It'll probably be the room tour one because that's what most people voted on. I'll tidy it up a little bit before I do that video, just because there's some stuff with like people's details on it that I'll make sure nobody can look at during the video. But otherwise, I'll keep it as messy as it is, just so everybody can see all the surplus piling up. And I'll probably also add into that video some of the other rooms where I've got surplus in crates, piled on top of each other. Yeah, Biscuits. I think I probably need StreamYard for that, but yeah, I like all the things like that, Scott. I watch Paul Harrell's videos a lot for US stuff. In theory, there is, John, but again, I imagine it's quite expensive, and you need to be careful what you're doing with stuff like that. Retro Collecting says, can you say Gregor's Brichniwichgewitz? No, I can't. But yeah, for the people who didn't see it on the members-only stream yesterday, I bought one of those little ROC pictures that it will never focus on. Or will it? Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's focused. But yeah, I thought I'd get these because they were like a $5 on eBay the other day. Yeah, ask the question then, Colby. Don't say, can you answer one, and then not ask it. I don't think so, Alex Sane. I've got two types of AK bayonets. I think one's the AKM and one's the AK-74 bayonet. But I don't think one's Polish. I've just got a generic one with like Soviet-style bakelite on. So that could be any number of Warsaw Pact countries. And I had an East German one, but the bakelite started splintering and got really sharp. So on that particular one, I stripped the bakelite off of it, and I'm going to rehouse it with maybe wood furniture at some point. You basically, Colby, and thank you, Biscuits, for joining up. You basically have a drawstring, if I remember right. They're sort of elasticated anyway, but you put the trousers on first, and they have suspenders or braces, whatever you want to call them. And then the top part goes over the top, and it's either a drawstring or it's just quite tight at the bottom. No, I've not got an SA-80 bayonet, random sod, and I've not got an SLR bayonet because they're too expensive, but I've got this one. Oh, and Biscuits, I've shown knives on older EDC videos, but in general, the Swiss Army knife is just the one I use the most if I'm carrying a knife on me and it's just in the button-up pocket, mostly because it's just got other tools on it. But I've got some multi-tools and stuff like that, but I just find the Swiss Army knife ends up being the handiest because of the amount of like tools that fold into it. There's different models, aren't there, Daniel? But I think people were saying on the stream the other day they actually can break SA-80 bayonets because the plastic on them was pretty shit. So it's just that, if you actually used it to, either used it as a bayonet enough or you were using it on a rifle where the barrel was getting hot, and all that, it will eventually just snap and fall apart. I've got a cold steel shovel, Biscuits, and I've got, what's the other cold steel thing I've got? So I know I've got two cold steel things. One of them's a shovel. Oh, it's the Gladius machete. I've never seen when the French masks melt, but I know they certainly have a lot of problems with like plastic quality and all that sort of stuff on them. Right. I'll be on Twitch later on then, Mike, so see you then. No, I don't have... The only World War I bayonet I've got is this one. I've got somewhere in this drawer, if I can find it, the later Enfield Bayonet, which is like the boring little spike. Yeah, here it is. So yeah, to compare the quality of the two bayonets, yeah, quite a difference in quality, isn't it, between this thing and the previous model of bayonet. There you go, there's Weapon Collector's Twitch. You'll see me on there later on, but I don't ever stream anything on Twitch. There's no point following me on there. Yeah, most bayonets came down to this sort of size, didn't they, later on, just because it was cheaper. The Czech bayonets are pretty nice for the VZ56. These. I've redone some of the edges on this one because mine was a bit damaged when I got it. But yeah, Czech VZ56 bayonets are quite cool. But again, you know, size-wise, not much to it. The ones I carry around on me, Radiac Maniac, the Atom Tag at the moment because of its mapping feature, and ones like this, just because by far they're the smallest size ones I've got. I didn't see any before that TXE Gaming, but it might be just the chat's moving too fast. That's cool, Justin Vapor. Oh, and thank you for signing up for membership, by the way. But yeah, by far, out of all the bayonets I've got now, this is my favourite by like a mile, just because of the huge size of the thing. It's even cooler when it's on the Enfield, but again, YouTube rules mean I can't show that on the stream. This is an M1907, not a 1917, but yeah, it's actually got quite a sharp edge to this as well. So I imagine this was designed to be able to hack with, which would make sense if it's a sword bayonet, not just thrusting. Obviously, it's a false edge on this side, but yeah, this side is a sharp edge. So I don't smoke anymore, Colby, so I'm not going to do any more smoking videos, considering I've quit for years. Foul bayonets, sadly, like that long. They're not very long at all. That's all right. But yeah, because I've quit, obviously, I'm not going to start up again to do videos on it. Yes, 40mm NATO filters fit fine as far as I'm aware, Giovanni, on DIN masks, because the World War II DIN masks I've got, 40mm filters seem to vapor seal to them. I've actually stopped vaping as well completely now. I've not vaped in maybe 6 months or so. Personally, Joshua, no, you couldn't. I think somebody of enough lab equipment could do it, but in terms of a regular Joe doing it, not really. I think if you heat the filter up, it kind of makes them last a bit longer. But in terms of like emptying the filter and then resealing it properly once you'd, you know, cleansed all the charcoal, probably not. No, I've already been asked about the K98 Bayonet, and the answer was no earlier in the stream. Yeah, I've already done one LX Saint, but it won't be live till tomorrow. But yes, it stabs very well. But I'm not going to abuse this bayonet at all, because obviously with an old World War I antique like this, I'm not going to be like, oh, let's see what happens to the bayonet if I slam it into really hard wood over and over. This is my favourite bayonet, because the 1907 pattern sword, because obviously the size of it. Do you mean that one? That's some Chinese MF1A gas mask that Hype sent me. I also bought one of those before, but the one I bought was crap, and he sent me a good one. Yeah, sadly, I've never found ballistic gel for sale in the UK. I tried making myself, and it came out way, way too runny. It might be something I try again in the future, but I don't have the Foul Bayonet. They exist, but they're pretty expensive in the UK. Basically, the Foul Bayonet is quite similar looking to an AK bayonet, as in a lot of the Foul Bayonets I've seen just look very similar to that. You know, they're just like a short kind of utility knife that goes on the end of the barrel. I don't have any potassium chloride, so I can't test it. But yeah, the difference in size between an AK bayonet and the Enfield bayonet, and thank you, James, is pretty insane. As you can see. Very, very different in size. Yeah, AK bayonets are good because they're really cheap, and they're pretty damn good solid knives. It's just obviously they're intended more as a utility knife, which you could stab somebody with, rather than it being a, you know, proper good old-fashioned bayonet sort of thing. K-bars didn't have a bayonet attachment. Do you mean if you had a bayonet attachment on a K-bar to fit it to a gun? Well, it would stab all right, yeah. I didn't know they did a pistol bayonet biscuits. That's interesting. But, yeah. I've heard good things about the Glock and some of the other gun companies like Knives and Bayonets, Steve, but I've never ended up getting around to buying them. Obviously, as I said previously, my favourite bayonet was probably this one, just because these were pretty damn cheap. And these are bloody good, you know, bayonets, but, you know, these still don't compare to the big old sword bayonets in terms of size. That's interesting. Is it the same company that made them, Steve? But yeah, but I'm saying, like, I know Smith & Wesson and a load of other companies do their own little sort of utility combat knives, don't they? Yeah, Star made bayonets. So I've seen some of those. I think there was some Sten bayonets during World War II, but I've never seen them for sale. That's an interesting thing to note, Daniel. But yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Well, they essentially sell their name on for a product. It actually is, James, which surprised me because I thought this was going to be a blunt bayonet like nearly all of them. But yeah, the sword side of it is pretty sharp. It's not razor sharp, but obviously it's probably dulled over the years. If somebody did that to you, it would hack into you, yeah. Well, I suppose these were made for trench fighting as well, weren't they, in World War One? I know the bayonet precedes World War One, but I guess the idea was with this that you could have it disconnected from the rifle as a short sword, you know, or on the rifle it just acts as a bayonet. Ah, that's interesting, Steve. But yeah, I know what the M1 carbine bayonet looks like, but sadly I don't have one for mine. But yeah, I do know what it looks like, so that's pretty cool. That is the SMLE I have, which I was going to point up there, but it's not up there anymore. It's dated 1939, my SMLE. Is it a number 1 Mark III, I think? But it was the one that was common before the number 4 replaced it. The date on this bayonet, though, is October 1914, with a George V stamp on it. So, you know, the bayonet is older than my Lee Enfield. But, yeah, I don't know. This is just a really nice bayonet. Yeah, as I said, I would have it on the gun to show it you on the gun, because of YouTube's rules, I can't attach it. I'm sure it's just more of a marketing ploy, Joshua, compared to the amount of use it would get. I've got things probably technically older than this, like the Schmidt-Rubin rifle and my Martini Henry would be older than this by about 30 years or so. But technically, this is one of the... I technically own a World War I item now, for anybody that says, do you own anything from World War I? Yes, I do now. The number 4 Enfield's technically an SMLE, isn't it, Daniel? I don't know, Visa, but I've not got any anyway. It's the original British cartridge, so that is... Isn't it something like 577 or something? Hang on, I've got the full screen thing up. Martini Henry. I think it's something like 577, isn't it? The Martini Henry. 577 450 is the caliber. British World War One, well, predates World War One. Technically, this series of bayonets, but the 1907 pattern sword bayonet. The most impractical one I've actually got is the pewter one I showed on yesterday's stream. I wouldn't shoot the Martini Henry random sod for the reasons I've gone into before, because it's got a damaged barrel. So it'd be a bit risky shooting it. The Schmidt-Rubin, sure, but as said, I need a Section 1 first, wouldn't I? No way of knowing. It's pretty old, so there's chances it could have been. Right, just for anybody that didn't know, tomorrow's stream is going to be a members only one, because at the moment I've been alternating members only one day, regular stream the sort of next day. Yeah, well, the thing is, AK-47, the Martini Henry is from like 1870, isn't it, or something? Although it was, a single action gun in the sense of put a round in, shoot it, eject it, that sort of thing. And it used a cartridge. It was still black powder as far as I was aware. All right, J1. What's that about, sunburn? Or do you mean from the rifle shooting? Yeah, I mean, I know smokeless powder, though, when that came in AK-47, that's when countries started replacing the bright coloured uniforms, didn't they, with actual more camo-like uniforms, because the idea was that, you didn't want your soldiers to stand out, where before the use of smokeless powder, there wasn't any point not having that, because, if somebody shot, you'd immediately know where they were from all the smoke coming from their direction. Yeah, Peach, who comes on these streams, de facto leader, has a couple of Todd Cutler things, I believe. Yep, I've got a load of crossbows. Look up the videos on crossbows I've done. I've not got any really, really old crossbows, but I've got, quite a lot of modern sporting type crossbows. Yeah, I've seen those interesting thing, Daniels, where there's you get the pistols, don't you, with a big blade on them and other sort of things like that, where I guess the idea was, but isn't there a Forgotten Weapons video explaining how impractical a lot of those were? Just because I guess it would be very easy to cut yourself, or it would just be cumbersome if you're trying to reload the thing or whatever. I've never used one, but let me look it up. Unless you mean a Czech 56 bayonet, but let me look up CZ58 bayonet. Oh, is it actually called the VZ58, not the VZ56? Yeah, if you mean the this one, yeah, they're all right. Just make sure you get one where the end isn't snapped off. Just because there's quite a few like this one where I had to resharpen the end because it was totally snapped off when I got it. But yeah, if you mean the VZ56, VZ58 bayonets, whatever they're called, yeah, these are all right. But it's just a fairly practical little bayonet. Do you mean a ballistic knife, Colby? Because there's such a thing as a ballistic knife. I don't know the point of a knife that has a knife in it. That seems a bit impractical. Out of all the crossbows I've got, my favourite one is just probably one of the quite modern Taiwanese ones. No, it's all piled up all around the house retro collecting. Again, watch a load of the videos on my channel because I think they'd answer a lot of your questions. As in this one, Steve. Yeah, it's not too uncomfortable. If you gripped it really tight, it might, dig into the back of your hand a bit. But for the most part, no, they're not bad to hold. Because that bit, holds fine. And then, your hand like that isn't really going to get in the way of the, lug system. So yeah, I'd say that'd be absolutely fine in all honesty to hold like that. I won't be on too long this stream because, as I said, unfortunately, I had to start it quite late today just because of the fact I wasn't able to stream before that football match finished. Yeah, that's quite a nice one, de facto leader. It looks like it's a very functional knife, but again, the problem is with something like that is I wouldn't go out and sort of bash it about in the woods or anything. If I wanted to get a knife to probably use and abuse outdoors, assuming I wasn't going to do it with something really cheap like those Swedish knives, what they called. I've got a few of them, like the plastic handle ones, a little blade, like the Moras. I'd probably get one of those British MOD survival knives. Yeah, Moras, there we go. Yeah, looks good, Steve. If you see one like that, I'd say just go for it. But yeah, the MOD knives are pretty good. Do you mean can these rust? I mean, pretty much any type of steel can rust. I mean, they're not in an easy rustable steel. As long as you wipe any dampness off of it before you sheathe it, it's not going to rust. But I assume if you put it in a damp holster, like a scabbard or a sheath sort of thing, and left it in there for months, I imagine it would start rusting, yes. Yeah, I have no problems with Moras, Fluzzy. I'm just saying that they're good for being how cheap they are. So, yeah, if you didn't see it at the start, Marcus, call it a knife. This is a knife. Right. Are there any important questions before I go off? Because as I said, I'm not going to be on ages tonight. If you're on about how do I prevent things from rusting, I clean them with silicone lubricant to begin with, and then I oil the sheath and everything else. So I've got a load of sword oil in there at the moment. That's why it's shiny, because when you put it in and pull it out, it's covered in oil. Be very careful about using WD-40 and certain things like that on some types of steel, because they can rust some steels. No, de facto leader, anything that I'm going to do with that will be for Weapon Collector's video he's doing on it. Vostok Amphibia. It's one of the later models that's a bit nicer than the earlier ones, but yeah, I'll be off in a minute. So, as I said, if anybody's got any important questions, ask them quickly. Otherwise, I'll see people on the members stream tomorrow that have joined up for membership. And that should hopefully be at 8 p.m. rather than ending up like really, really late like today. Yeah, see you then, Peter. I'm probably just going to start 8 p.m. as I said before, the usual sort of time I stream. I'll definitely try and do a members one though earlier in the day at some point for people in different time zones. Do you mean the M95 mask? No, I've seen an M98 in like a bright yellow color, as in the Pro mask. But in terms of like the Scott M95, no. Like obviously the French ARFAs come in a couple of colors, and then none of them are good because it's not the Polish MP5 variant or clone, whatever you want to call it. But random sod, that's not an MP5. That's the French ARFA. D&B Militaria lava, dude. Look them up. It's where I buy all my deactivated guns from. But they do bayonets and other stuff on there as well, just like in general Militaria. And they're better than eBay in the sense that they can sell stuff on there that's against eBay terms of service to sell. It's like Nazi memorabilia and all that. Obviously, you know, for sensible reasons, don't go buying Nazi memorabilia, you know, if you're a tard that goes around Zeke hiling it. But if you just find World War II militaria interesting, they at least sell Nazi memorabilia on there. Whereas the issue is, I think eBay's banned all of it, even like the proper World War II stuff. Although I have bought a load of World War II German stuff on there, and it's come through anyway, you know. But D&B military a lot better if you want to buy blades, you know, all that sort of stuff. Maybe you meant to put MP5, not M95 markers, because P and 9 are fairly close to each other on a keyboard. That's the only thing I can think. They do sell gas masks on D&B military as well, but they're pretty overpriced. I imagine my local unis are really high, Marcus. Let's have a look. Apparently Oxford is facing lockdown in days, in quotes, after missed cases. There was something I read, I think, about Oxford Brookes having like some sort of stupid house party that's led to a massive surge in cases as well. Yeah, I think the entire UK is getting a lot of restrictions by the sound of it at the moment. You know, if you don't currently have a restriction in your area, I imagine you'll be getting one soon. Yeah, as Daniel said, a lot of it comes down to what you do with it. Like, you know, it's perfectly legal for me to have this in my house, show it on camera and all stuff like that. It's not legal for me to tuck this into my trousers and just walk around with it outside on the streets. Yep, it's under the frame there somewhere. It's pretty rusty, unfortunately, because it seems like the inside didn't have an anti-rust coating put on it. So as soon as it gets damp, water gets inside and rusts it inside out. Yeah, the one I prefer, obviously, although it's not authentic medieval, is the Warhammer Weapon Collector made me. Because this is a lot more, I'd say, sturdy and well-built than that mace. I already do Joshua, although it's not real medieval stuff, is it? Because the price of rusted old medieval stuff would be pretty insane. But in terms of modern reproductions of medieval stuff, I already do if you check my videos out. Right, that will do it for today's stream. It's been about 45 minutes. So yeah, don't forget to like the stream. And if you want to support the channel when you haven't joined up on membership yet, please consider it. Because if you join memberships, it just means you get access to a couple more videos per month. And it's not very expensive. It just helps fund a load of this stuff, you know. I said it's kind of like an alternative to Patreon. YouTube do, but it's actually better than Patreon in my opinion, just because it means it's easier for me to give bonuses to people that sign up as members, unlike Patreon, where because it's not tied in with YouTube, you can't easily offer things to people on Patreon without it, you know, just showing up for everybody. But yeah, see you all, and the members stream tomorrow will be 8 p.m. as usual, unless something comes up and I have to change the time, but it should be 8 p.m. So see you all then. Goodbye.